The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Longman Simplified English Series. Read by Chureemart Buppaphoch. Chapter 11. On the Island. When Tom awoke in the morning, he wondered where he was. He sat up and rubbed his eyes and looked around. Then he remembered it was the cool gay dawn, and there was a delightful sense of peace in the deep, calm, and silence of the woods. Not a leaf stirred. The lops stood upon the leaf on grass. A white layer of ashes covered the fire, and a blue test of smoke rose to rise, stare into the air. Joe and Huck still slept. Now far away in the woods, a bird called, another answered. Gradually, the cool, dim gray of the morning brightened, and as gradually sounds multiplied and life reveals itself. The marvel of natural shaking of sleep and going to work unfolded itself to the boy. A little green warm cloud crawling over the dewy leaf. Tom sat as still as a store, with his hope rising and feeling as the seasons still came towards him, also a tendency to go elsewhere. When it finally climbed down upon Tom's leg and began a journey over him, his warhorse was guessed for that mean that the was going to have a new suit of clothes. Without a shadow of doubt, a George pilotical in uniform. Now a procession of ants appeared and went about their able one stage with a deal spider 5 times as big as itself, and dodged its stair up a tree trunk. A tiny protest beetle climbed up the great height of a grass bed, and Tom bent down close to it and said, Lady Bird, fly away home. Your house is on fire, your child alone. She sailed off to see about it, which did not surprise the boy, for he had long known that the body bird was always ready to believe stories about fires. The birds were singing merry by now. One slipped down a fast of blue flame and stopped on the beach, almost within the boy's reach. It reached its head to one side and eyed the statues with immense successfully. All nature was wide awake. Long beams of sunlight peeled pitches down through the leafy branches, and a few butterflies came dancing upon the sides. Tom lost the other pilots, and in minutes or two they were sailing rather and falling over each other in the shallow water of the sandbar. The Collins had carried off their last, but this only delight them since its going was something like burning the bridge between them and civilization. They came back to camp wonderfully refreshed and as hungry as walrus. They soon had the campfire blazing up again. Huck find a spring of clear cool water close by, and a new boy made cups of leaves. Tom and Huck stepped to a promiscuous place on the river bank and threw in their fishing line. Almost immediately, they had daily was enough fish for a family. They find the fish and were astonished for and fish has ever seen so delicious before. They did not know that the creatures of a freshwater fish is on the fire after it is caught. The better it is, and they didn't stop to think that sleeping, exercise, and brushing in the open air had given them an excellent appetite. They lay about in the in the chest after breakfast. White Hart had a smoke and then went off through the woods. They found plenty of things to be delighted with, but nothing to be astonished at. They were too angry to stop to fish, but they had a good meal of meat and threw themselves down in the chairs to talk. But the talk soon began to dust and then die. The, the quietness that hung over the woods and the sense of own loneliness began to have an effect on the spirits of the boys. Always growing, always longing cleft upon them. It was burning him homesickness, even when the left hand was dreaming of his door, slaves, and his implied belly. But they were all edges of their weakness, and none was brave enough to say what was in his mind. For some time now, the boy had a peculiar sound in the distance. On hearing a louder sound, the boys stared, glanced at each other in silently, and listened. What is it? Asked Joe in a whisper. Let's go and see, said Tom. They sprang to their feet and hurried to the bank, flanking the village. They paid the best and pitched out. Her days seemed crowded with people. There were many small boats being loafed about, or floating with the current in the neighborhood of the ferry boats, but the boys could not see what the men in them were doing. After a time there was a puff of white smoke from the sides of the ferry boats, and as it rose in the lazy coast, that same sound was borne to the listeners again. I know now, exclaimed Tom. Somebody's down it. Was it? Said Huck. They did have last summer when Bill Turner was down. They should have begun over the water, and that made the body come up to surface. The boys continue to listen and watch. Then a leveling through flash through Tom's mind, and he exclaimed, "Boys, I know what we're down. We are." They left like heroes in an intense. They were mischievous. They were began bent over hosts were begging for them, and best of all, they are the threats of the war town, and the envy of all the boys. This way, it was worldwide began a piracy. After all, as twilight day one, the ferry boat went back to her accot- accustomed business, and the loving boats disappeared. The pirates returned to camp. They were sworn with ministry over their new importance and the great trouble that they were causing. They could fish, cook supper, and ate it, and then began to guess what its village was thinking and saying about them. But when the shadows of night closed around them, they gradually kissed and talked and said, gazing into the fire, in their minds evidently wandering el- elsewhere, and excitement, excitement had gone now, and Tom and Joe could not keep out two of churches persons at home who were not enjoying their flight adventure as much as they were, aside or through as crap and unawares. Tom says Joe highly pilots do go home sometimes, don't they? Tom prowls cons upon him. Huck has not said a word on the subject onwards. They therefore freeze to join in with Tom. Joe makes echoes inferently they need that he was suffering from homesickness, or that he was too diseased. As the night these plans has begun to knot and presently fell asleep, Joe forward neck. Tom lay watching the two for some time. At last he got up cautiously and went searching among the grass in the dim light of the campfire. He picked up an impact several large pieces of the thin white back of a tree that finally close to. Then he knew by the flies and was something, and each of these pencil on he looked up and put in his clothes pocket, and the other he put in Joe cap, together with, with, with surgeons invulnerable choose boy chose among them a price of chase, a label bone, 3 fish hooks, and a special kind of marble. Then he tiptoed away